Welcome back. Now, if you remember, let's have something different here. So we have unique keys. If you remember, we have to have unique keys. So let's say this is greet, and this is a, I don't know, let's say a basket. And we can access basket like this. If I click run, I get 1, 2, 3. But what if we don't know what this dictionary is? Maybe a dictionary is something, well, somewhere else where we can't see. But we want to know if this, let's call this user, if this user has maybe property like age. So do they have this age key? Well, if I click run, I get an error, key error, age. Age doesn't exist. But remember, errors in our programs, and this is something we'll cover later on, are not good. They're going to stop the program as soon as the Python interpreter enters an error. It's going to kick out of the program and say, hey, you have an error, and it's going to completely ignore what's underneath it. Here we don't have anything, but in a real life program, we want to avoid these errors because it stops execution. So another good way to access a key and to see if it even exists is to use .get. And guess what .get is? Did you guess a method? Well, there you go. .get is a method on the object or the dictionary in Python. So here, if we do get age and do run, I get none. So my program doesn't error. It just says, hey, there is nothing there. It's an absence of value. And we've learned what none means by now. So that's a really nice way to avoid those errors. By the way, if let's say there's no age in the user, but you want to have a default value, you can do something like this. So you add a comma, and then here you say whatever you want as the default value. So let's figure that out. If I click run, I get 55. Because now I'm saying, hey, grab the age from the user dictionary. If age doesn't exist on the user dictionary, use 55. So now we have 55. But if the user already has age, and I click run, I get 20. So this is, hey, in case age doesn't exist, add a default value. That's really, really nice. Now, I'm going to show you another way to create a dictionary, which is not very common. Most of the time, you want to use this syntax. But just so you're aware of it, here's another way. Let's say we have a new user, so user 2. I can create here a dictionary by saying dict, which again is a built-in function. And in here, look at that. It shows me, hey, this is going to create a new empty dictionary. And we can create different values, key value pairs. And we simply say, I want the key to equal the value. So in my case, let's just say that I want the name to equal John John. If I now print out user 2, well, before I click run, I see that I have a red underline. And by the way, if you see here PyFlakes, that's something called linting, something we'll talk about when we talk about developer environments. We're using this linter that tells you whenever you make errors in Python, and it says keywords can be an expression. That just means that, hey, the keyword needs to be, well, just a variable that we create. So if I click run here, look at that. I have name John John. So we've created a user with this key value pair. Now, like I said, this way of creating dictionaries is not very common. Most of the time, you'll do something like this. But at least now you know that this is why this built-in function exists. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.